Bargo on the outside looking in. Those stranger things have happened. He's on 6 cards to start things off with a Nomad Outpost. Mize with a Temple of Abandon underway here in round number 7. A Mountain and just a passing of the turn. Heir of the Wilds there for Mize. So he's got the first creature. Lightning Strike will take care of that, though. Does Bargo have a 3rd land? Yes. Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn back over to Mize. Mize will draw. I like pick up a forest.
I like watching these kind of matchups because you get to see the merits of playing the different 3-color decks, what their incentives are. I think this is a really powerful matchup for Crackling Doom.
Yeah, me too. Sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire. And go digging. Get a swamp. All 3 colors online. We'll see what'll happen here.
This is one of those spots where Hordeling Outburst so good. You're worried about an individual removal spell.
Yeah. 4th land. There's a Butcher. And a Boon Satyr on the end step. Might as well draw. And I'd be surprised if we see a block here.
Nope. The difference in quality here in the creature is too high. Plus, with Craig having taken a mulligan, I think he's pretty adverse to trading.
There's a 4th land. Windswept Teeth just passing the turn back over to Bargo. Bargo will draw. In for 5 in the air.
Even when Butcher the Horde isn't good, it's really good. I mean, there's no combos going on here. There's no shenanigans. Just a 5 power flyer for 4 mana. That's the floor. That's not a bad deal.
That's as you put it very well. That's the floor.
Yeah.
I want the ceiling.
That's the basic cable version of Butcher of the Horde.
Yeah.
5 power flyer for 4 mana.
How do I get stars? HBO, that's what I want to know.
Have some tokens in play.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty much just have tokens in play.
That's not tough to do. I can do that. That's basically free. Storm Breath. These beatdowns are nasty. That's a lot of damage. Crackling Doom does not work out great here.
No. It's still fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not bad. But I imagine that he'd like to Crackling Doom away that Storm Breath Dragon that's causing a lot of problems.
Well, there is always the hope.
You are right. He could sacrifice that.
Don't rule it out.
There's a Lightning Strike. I think he does have a Crackling Doom in his hand.
I think that Craig just needs to cast his removal spells. It's not going to get any better than this.
Yeah. There's Crackling Doom to take care of the other Boon Satyr, I imagine. Yep. I mean, that's pretty good.
This is still not shabby.
Yeah. We're racing in Temple. Yes. Take a look at the top. He's got to leave it on top, so it must be something he likes. Don't know the last card in his hand. It's 11-7 in favor of Bargo right now. Mize, I believe, has a Goblin Rebel Master, a couple of lands over there, and maybe another copy of Stormbreath Dragon. This one's coming in. And tie it up, 7-7. There's Stormbreath. That one's going to play defense against the white creature. Has to turn back. Now remember, Bargo left this card on top of his deck, so it's clearly something he liked. Now his draw last turn was a Chain of the Rocks, which is awkward at best.
Yes. I think he kept Lightning Strike on top, it looks like.
Yeah, I think with the plan of trying to finish the game with an attack and then strike you.
Which is pretty ambitious, given that Logan always has the option of hanging back on defense.
Yep. Monstrosity activation. Gonna say strike you upstairs. I'll take 1. Last card's a mystery, but I have a feeling that Mize is going to attack and try to get him.
At least attack with the lethal Storm Breath and just see what happens.
Yeah. And try to give him the opportunity to outthink himself, but it's not going to happen. And that is going to do it. So Logan Mize is going to win game number 1 here over Craig Bargo. Green Red Monster is up a game here over Mardu mid-range as we will turn our attention to the sideboard. We'll take a look at Bargo's first, which you have in front of you.
A Glare of Heresy and Erase, 3 copies of Read the Bones, 2 End Hostilities, 2 Utter Ends, and Elspeth's Sun's Champion, 2 Chandra Pyromaster, and 3 copies of Anger the Gods. I definitely like the additional copy of Elspeth and the 2 copies of Utter End. Those to me seem very easy to bring in. I do not know if he's going to want to swap completely into an End Hostilities deck. Green-red monsters is the type of thing where they can play 1 or 2 threats and really force a Wrath all on its own. So I think it's hard to swap in too much in that sort of deck. He still might. The end hostility still may be good enough, but I definitely like the Utter Ends and the Elspeth.
3 copies of Destructive Revelry, 3 Magma Spray, 2 Xenagos the Reveler, 3 Arc Lightning, 3 Faded Conflagration, along with a Chandra Pyromaster. I like Faded Conflagration a lot.
I like that a lot. Great removal spell, covers pretty much everything. A little tough on the mana, but these Bardo decks pack all sorts of just high quality 4 or 5 mana cards, and that kind of removal spell is well worth it.
And that game, I think, is a demonstration of why I want to be playing a card like Storm Breath Dragon next weekend in this deck. Yeah, it's just the protection from white is relevant right now.
Comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely does against Abzan Charm, Chain to the Rocks, random white flyers. We decided to even do work against blue-white Heroic out of Jeff Hoagland's deck, just playing defense at certain spots. So
you get to play defense against a card like Siege Rhino too. There's a lot of cards that they don't feel white, but they are. Siege Rhino feels like a big dumb green creature. Butcher the Horde seems like a big red-black flyer. But Stormbreath Dragon not only kind of jumps those, like as far as blocking is concerned, but can attack through them in the case of Butcher the Horde.
The floor, again, very high.
Yep.
The basic cable version of Stormbreath Dragon still get a 4/4 haste flyer for 5. Cannot do that much better than that.
Pretty good.
The ceiling is very, very high.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2, and we will talk about our good friend, the Ooze token, along with the dice bag, the deck box, and the sleeves.
And now these Ooze tokens are available on any website order over $5, and you should have no difficulty filling one of those out with all the sales we're going to be running for Black Friday and throughout the month of December. So head over to StarCityGames.com right now. You can pick up all the deck boxes, play mats, dice bags, and so forth for the Ooze token or any other part of our creature collection series. And any booth that we're running out there in Open or at Grand Prix, anywhere else, all the stuff is available as well.
They're friendly, they're fun, and they melt skulls.
Well, the art has been cropped in such a fashion where the ooze that's on the large screen here, the skull is largely hidden. You have to go to the token itself to really identify that.
I see.
I don't know if that's creative editing. I don't know if that's coincidence, but slightly less horrifying than earlier iterations of this promotion.
Maybe I had to dial it back a little bit.
Maybe.
We have seen things like that in the past where maybe the kids get a little too scared.
There's FCC considerations. I mean, you don't want to run afoul of any of this, so.
This is definitely a PG-13.
Scale it back just a little bit. Never hurts to be safe. Anyhow, StarCityGames.com, the Ooze tokens and everything else available for sale right now.
Little spoiler alert for you guys. It's not a spoiler if I'm not 100% on it, right? I think we have more creature collection stuff coming next year.
I don't think that's much of a spoiler.
I don't think anyone's too surprised by that, but I think that's true. Can't announce what it is. Don't want to get in trouble, but I think we've got some stuff coming. No confirmation on Hippo yet, though. I can tell you that for sure. No confirmation there.
It's really tough to make any headway at the home office sometimes, I can only gift them the best idea ever. After that, it's in their hands.
It's up to them what they want to do with it.
Right, exactly.
I'm right there with you. I am. We'll see what happens as far as Hippos are concerned and everything else for 2015.
So Craig Bargo's list going up a little bit higher than what you articulated earlier you wanted to be doing. The main deck Elspeth was something you specifically called out as not being a fan of?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a good one of, but I fear for the games where I just am unable to cast it or it just kind of gluts up my hand.
I feel like I want 1 copy in my sideboard and 0 in my main deck.
I'd be okay with a Miser's copy on the board.
Well, sideboard games just slow down on average.
Sure.
People bring in more removal spells. Game goes a little bit longer. You're more likely to cast an Elspeth game 2 than you are game 1.
I don't think I want Chain of the Rocks in my deck, though I'm willing to be wrong about that.
What's your issue with Chain of the Rocks?
I don't know if it's an issue. I just don't want it. Okay. I'm not going to play like a 68 card deck.
Sure.
But maybe it's better than I think. I know I want Lightning Strike and Crackling Doom. I know I want 4 of each of those cards. I don't know how I feel about it's Magma Jet versus Chain of the Rocks, I guess. Maybe that's the card you have to decide between.
Or you can go on a much lower end, even though I know you don't really want to do that because you really want to be playing with Maz, but you could go to something like Bloodsow Champion, Rabble Master with Stoke the Flame, Lightning Strike, Magma Jet is your removal suite.
Sure.
It's a different route for the deck.
I could get behind Stoking since there will be some token creation.
Yeah.
Between Whirling Outburst and Maz, if things go appropriately. Stoke's a little expensive, but Chain's probably better, I think, because you want to be able to play 2 spells in 1 turn, too.
The format is glutted with a lot of haste threats, though. It's not.
Yeah.
Chain of the Rock it's really good against Pelurkanos and similar threats, but There's only so much of that going around.
Perhaps the weapon I'm looking for is Murderous Cut.
Maybe.
Because, you know, you really take it for granted. Like the removal in the previous format, we just had Doomblade Ultimate Press. It's like whatever you play, 2 mana, it's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah, that's,
Devouring Flesh is the same deal.
Yeah, we're not there anymore. So here's a Temple to start things off. You definitely have to be very, vigilant in what you select. It's really hard what you select for removal. Lightning Strike is the only one that really feels like the go-to, where you're just like, this is certainly in my deck since it kills Mantis Rider and Elvish Mystic and Rebel Master and can also deal U3.
Good against Planeswalkers, just very efficient.
Yeah.
Hard to miss with that card.
It's the best that kind of effect has been for a while, I think. Like just 2 mana deal 3. Sometimes it's just okay, but it's very good in this format.
Some of it is, as you mentioned before, the removal is a lot less flexible than it used to be. And Lightning Strike maybe among the more, if you look at versatility against mana cost, maybe the best deal in the format as far as removal goes.
Yep. What do we got here? Magma Jet, see you later. Taking care of that Elvish Mystic, pretty key. Couple of cards going to go to the bottom there for Bargo. We'll head Mize's way. Mize will draw. Wooded Foothills. You see he's got a Crater's Claws in his hand. Also has a copy of Fanatic of Xenagos. Got to sacrifice the Wooded Foothills. Got on 19 in the process. Flayed Conflagration is kind of that catch-all removal spell that I kind of like, but dude, 4 mana is so much.
And triple red's even harder.
Yeah. There's Air of the Wilds. You pay a very steep price to be able to do that.
It is really good at getting stuff dead.
Bargo scratched 2 cards to the bottom immediately with Magma Jet, and now he's missed his 3rd land. Wasn't able to find one at the top of his deck. We'll see if he can continue to interact here. Looks as though he kept a pretty good hand between Magma Jet and the Temple to try to find lands, and just is not able to do so. They're going to Lightning Strike that. See you later, Alligator. In for 2. Bargo? No. Though Mize's hand isn't all that punishing yet, he's pretty reactive, though he does have a Goblin Rabble Master, so it looks like he's going to deploy that. See if Bargo has a removal spell. I think he's got a Murderous Cut. So he's able to kill that too. So he's keeping his head above water right now.
This is one of those spots where it's actually better to be the person stalling on lands than the person flooding out, because all Craig really needs is a land, and he's probably pretty far ahead.
Yep. There's a Temple. Top card to the bottom. We're going back Mize's way. Mize will draw. Stormbreath Dragon's big. That's going to deal a total of 7 Ferocious along with Air of the Wilds. That's a big draw.
That was huge there. I think if Logan draws a land, he's in a ton of trouble.
Yeah.
But this might be enough to get Craig dead before Craig is able to draw out of it.
Boonsay to the draw too. Here's an attack. And there's Crater's Claws, and that's going to do it. Logan Mize is going to win this match here over Craig Bargo, 2-0. And for number 8 on our season 4 leaderboard, he's 6-1 with his Monsters deck.
Yep. Craig had a pretty reasonable hand there of a couple early removal spells and some expensive stuff with the ability to scry. Just couldn't get his lands on time. Logan with a couple timely draws there. The Stormbreath Dragon. The Boonsayer didn't turn out to be necessary, but may have been if Craig had some removal spell on that turn, but able to eke it out there before Craig was able to draw out of it.